Early Monday morning, around 7:15 a.m., I was half awake and making coffee when the doorbell rang. I figured it was a delivery, but instead, it was a process server standing there with an envelope. He handed it over like he was giving me a pizza. Except this box contained divorce papers. My wife, Bianca, 29, had decided our 5-year marriage was over. She even stuck a note to the front. "I'm taking everything. My lawyer says you can't stop me. Should have treated me better." Real nice touch. I read it once, then simply texted her one word: received. Then I sat back down with my coffee and started combing through the paperwork. According to her lawyer, a guy named Reynold Kastner, who literally works for one of those firms that advertises on bus benches, Bianca was alleging that I had financially abused her, and that she was entitled to 75% of our assets. The narrative they built made it sound like I had kept her under my thumb through money. Problem with that story? Bianca was a real estate agent who earned a solid income. She just spent it the second it hit her account. Designer bags, weekly spa packages, and that ridiculous $4,000 exercise bike she rode twice before turning it into a clothing rack. The asset disclosure section caught my attention. She listed the house I bought before our marriage, solely in my name, my retirement accounts, brokerage accounts, even my gaming PC setup. Pretty thorough. But she forgot about one thing: my cryptocurrency. I've been steadily investing in crypto since 2017. I wasn't the type to brag about it or plaster charts all over social media. Bianca knew I had some Bitcoin but thought it was pocket change, internet monopoly money as she liked to call it. What she didn't know was that between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a few other coins, my holdings had grown to roughly $347,000. All above board, all taxed properly. And yes, technically considered marital property. That morning, after finishing my coffee, I dug out my hardware wallet, a little USB device that stores crypto offline, and started moving everything off the exchanges. Took about an hour, but once it was done, all of it sat safely in cold storage. To be clear, I wasn't hiding anything. Legally, there's a difference between concealing assets and securing them. Next call was to my buddy Derek, who works in digital forensics. "Hey, remember you once offered help if I needed it?" "Yeah, what's up? How much for a full forensic accounting? Like serious deep dive?" "Let me check. My colleague Amamira handles that stuff. Probably about $5,000. Book it." Update 1. Bianca wasted no time. She updated all her social media to successfully divorcing, and started posting the usual new chapter, know your worth quotes. Her circle hyped her up with heart emojis and "you go girl" comments. Meanwhile, she also sent a demand letter via her lawyer asking for full disclosure of all assets, bank accounts, retirement funds, crypto, NFTs, anything digital. So she did remember the crypto after all. I hired my own attorney, Harrison. Gray hair, calm voice, 30 years of experience, and not the type to advertise on a bus bench. Together, we provided complete disclosure. The bank accounts, the investments, my car, the house, even my old video game collection. Yes, we listed the crypto too with one key detail. Current value, $0. That's the beauty of a hardware wallet. The coins exist, but without the private keys, they might as well be buried gold bars in the desert. Harrison responded to Reynolds' demand with lawyer speak. "My client will provide access to marital assets as required by law during division proceedings at the conclusion of the case." Translation: good luck. Meanwhile, Amamira, the forensic accountant, had been digging through Bianca's finances. She called me with results. Want the good news or the weird news? Weird first. She has 3 Venmo accounts, 2 PayPal accounts, and a Zelle she thinks is hidden. Been shuffling money like she's running a shell game. Where's it all ending up? That's the good part. A bank account solely in her name, opened 8 months ago. Balance, $67,000. And she's been pocketing cash commissions from house sales, never declaring them. Totally untaxed. I asked if she could prove it all. Already documenting everything. This report's going to be airtight. Update 2. Bianca doubled down. She tried filing an emergency motion to freeze my assets. The judge glanced at it, noted I hadn't spent a cent, just transferred funds to cold storage, and denied it outright. Her next move? Petty theft. I came home one night to find my entire gaming rig missing. Desk, monitors, PC, everything. Roughly $8,000 worth of equipment. She texted me. Securing marital property. Lawyer said it's fine. I replied with a simple K and called the cops. I showed them receipts proving I'd bought it all years before the marriage. They contacted Bianca. She argued that I'd upgraded the PC during marriage. True, I added RAM last year. The officers didn't care. They told her to return everything that same day, or they'd file a theft report. She brought it all back, minus my $1,200 graphics card. I didn't bother fighting about it, just documented it for Harrison. But the real twist came when Reynolds demanded a full audit trail of my crypto. We handed it over. Every buy, every sale, every transfer. Buried in there were transactions linked to an old account Bianca herself had forgotten. Years ago, she'd asked me to invest a $5,000 bonus for her. I bought Ethereum under her name. She never touched the account again. Today, that holding had ballooned into $31,000. And guess what? She didn't disclose it in her financial statements. Her lawyer was already drowning. Once he saw the forensic report with Bianca's secret accounts, untaxed commissions, and now her undeclared Ethereum stash, he quietly withdrew from the case. Reynolds knew a sinking ship when he saw one. So while Bianca strutted around online calling herself a phoenix rising from the ashes, the reality was simple. She tried to burn me, but instead set fire to her own credibility. Meanwhile, my crypto sat safe, my lawyer was steady, and her whole legal team had walked away. Harrison, my lawyer, could barely hide his smile. She hid assets. That's bad for her, he said, almost sounding amused. But then he leaned in and added, wait until you see what else turned up. Update 3. Amamira, the forensic accountant, had wrapped up her work. She delivered a 73-page report that might as well have been a wrecking ball aimed directly at Bianca's credibility. The findings were brutal. For the past year and a half, Bianca had been skimming under the table cash from home sales. The total? Roughly $94,000. She'd been sneaking it into a separate account, carefully making deposits just under $10,000 to dodge bank reporting requirements. That tactic is called structuring. And structuring isn't a loophole, it's a federal crime. She had an OnlyFans account, pulling in around $3,000 a month. Nothing inherently wrong with that. Honestly, more power to her. The problem was she hadn't reported a single cent of it to the IRS. On top of that, she was treating personal luxuries as business write-offs. The vacation to Cabo we took? Marked as a work retreat. Her Botox injections? Listed as professional expenses. She even tried to categorize groceries as a business deduction. Now the OnlyFans thing? Didn't bother me one bit. But skipping taxes on it? That's the sort of thing that keeps the IRS up at night. Harrison sent the entire dossier to Reynolds, her attorney, with just one line attached. Please review and advise your client accordingly. 2 days later, Reynolds was out. He filed his withdrawal with the court, citing irreconcilable differences in case strategy. Translation. I'm not going to risk losing my law license for this circus. Bianca, of course, lost her mind. She called me, voice shrill and cracking. What did you do? I hired an accountant. You ruined everything. Reynolds says I could go to prison. For what? I didn't tell you to pocket $94,000 and skip your taxes. This is financial abuse. You're trying to destroy me. No, Bianca. Financial abuse is what you accused me of, while secretly hiding income for nearly 2 years. She slammed the phone down. Later that night, she went live on Instagram, clearly tipsy and ranting. She rambled about how I was weaponizing the courts, then made the fatal error of admitting her schemes on camera. The kicker? She blurted out. Besides, everyone does it. Even Reynolds helps his clients hide money all the time. A friend of mine captured the entire stream, start to finish, including her own admissions. Update 4. Bianca scrambled to find a new lawyer. She ended up with some kid fresh out of law school, who looked like he still had finals to study for. He immediately filed a motion accusing me of obstructing access to marital cryptocurrency. The judge, An experienced woman in her 60s who had seen every trick in the book wasn't having it. She skimmed the motion, glanced at the forensic report, then turned to Bianca. Mrs. Novak, you neglected to disclose $31,000 worth of cryptocurrency, while simultaneously accusing your husband of hiding his. Can you explain that? Her new lawyer stuttered about complexity of digital assets and honest mistakes. The judge was unmoved. She looked at me. Mr. Novak, are you willing to divide the cryptocurrency equitably? Harrison stood. Yes, Your Honor. My client is more than willing to divide all marital assets equitably, once all undisclosed assets are revealed and all tax obligations are settled. That word tax hung heavy in the air. Harrison slid a document across the table. It was a copy of the IRS notification. Because once we uncovered Bianca's undeclared income, we had a legal duty to report it. The judge's eyebrows rose. Mrs. Novak, I suggest you address your outstanding tax issues before pressing further on asset division. Outside the courtroom, Bianca stormed up to me seething. You think you're so clever with your crypto and your forensic nerds. I know about Perth. Perth? I asked. My coworker. Don't play dumb. I saw the photos. You two at lunch. It was Chipotle. With 4 other people. She faltered, then tried to rally. I'll tell everyone what you really are. Manipulative. Controlling. A tax cheat. I couldn't help it, I laughed. Bianca, that's you. Her rookie lawyer tugged her away, before she could keep digging the hole deeper. Update 5. When the IRS smells unpaid taxes, they move fast. Bianca got flagged for a full audit, 7 years back. And that $94,000 was just the appetizer. Turns out she'd been playing loose with deductions and unreported income long before we ever met. That's when her parents stepped in. Ricardo and Jen called me directly, pleading. Can't you just drop this? She's learned her lesson. She doesn't deserve prison. I didn't send the IRS after her. I told them. She did that herself when she chose to cheat on her taxes. But you reported it, Jen argued. By law I had to. You want me to commit a crime to cover up hers? Ricardo tried another angle. Family doesn't treat family like this. We're getting divorced, I reminded them. That makes us the opposite of family. They even dangled money, offering to help me out if I eased up. Bribery on top of fraud. I told Ricardo to stop before he created a second problem for himself. Meanwhile, Bianca's online persona crumbled. Her OnlyFans subscribers vanished when word of the IRS audit leaked. She tried spinning it as me sabotaging her, but screenshots of the forensic report started circulating. Her little empire collapsed overnight. And the hidden Ethereum account? Frozen by the exchange the moment they got wind of the IRS investigation. Her supposed secret lifeboat was locked away where she couldn't touch it. Final update. With everything slipping away, Bianca made one desperate, ugly move. She accused me of domestic violence. No specifics, no evidence, just a vague statement that I had been emotionally and psychologically abusive during the marriage. Harrison was more than ready. He presented screenshots of 3 years' worth of texts Bianca had sent her friends, calling me chill and the best husband. Her own Instagram posts, just 2 months before she filed, where she gushed about me being the love of her life. Video from our doorbell camera showing her hurling a vase at me during an argument while I ducked out of the way. Multiple character witnesses, including her own cousin, who admitted Bianca once bragged she would take me to the cleaners if we ever split. Her false allegations evaporated under the weight of her own past words and actions. In the end, Bianca's attempts to destroy me only torched her own reputation, her finances, and possibly her freedom. All I had to do was sip my coffee, hire the right people, and let her unravel herself. The false abuse allegation lasted exactly 1 court session before being tossed out. But even though it didn't stick, it had an unintended side effect. It seriously irritated the judge. Mrs. Novak, the judge said sternly, you've concealed assets, evaded taxes, filed baseless accusations, and wasted this court's time. I'm granting Mr. Novak's request for immediate dissolution, with distribution as it currently stands. That ruling was decisive. Current distribution meant I kept the house, since it was premarital property. My 401k stayed almost entirely with me, since the majority was built before the marriage. The cryptocurrency was divided 50-50, which I could live with. But here's the catch. Bianca's secret accounts and undeclared earnings were added into her side of the ledger. That adjustment reduced her entitlement everywhere else. In the end, she walked away with her car and her personal items, but she also owed me $12,000 for half of the equity she had built in the house. Then came the IRS fallout. Between penalties, fines, and back taxes, Bianca was on the hook for roughly $140,000. Her share of the crypto? About $173,500, just enough to barely cover her new debt to the government. When the divorce decree became official, Bianca sent me a final text message. "I hope you're happy. You ruined my life over money." I wrote back, "You ruined your own life over money. I just kept the receipts." And then I blocked her. A week ago, I bumped into Bianca's cousin Yara at a coffee shop. Without me even asking, she gave me the update. Bianca is back living at home with her parents. Most of her paycheck now vanishes straight to the IRS under a payment plan. Her real estate license wasn't renewed thanks to the fraud findings, so she's working behind the desk at a boutique fitness studio, selling class packages. Her once curated Instagram? Now private, with a grand total of 47 followers. Bio reads, "Living authentically." Ricardo and Jen, her parents, are still running around telling anyone who'll listen that I ruined their daughter's life out of pure spite. As for the attorneys, the young lawyer she hired after Reynolds is actually doing fine. Apparently, handling her case taught him a valuable lesson in client vetting. He even sends me a Christmas card every year, thanking me for the practical education. Reynolds, her first lawyer, wasn't so lucky. Bianca's drunk Instagram rant, where she blurted out that he helps clients hide money all the time, landed on the Bar Association's desk. That forced him into early retirement. Perth, the co-worker Bianca accused me of having an affair with? Well, she wasn't wrong about the chemistry, only the timing. Perth and I started dating a couple of months after the divorce wrapped. She knows the entire story and constantly makes me promise she'll never get access to my crypto keys. Reasonable request. Speaking of crypto, my holdings are sitting at about $430,000 now, thanks to a mix of growth and a few smart buys. Everything is still safely in cold storage, fully declared, and fully above board with the IRS. That's the thing about revenge. It doesn't have to be flashy. It doesn't have to involve elaborate plots or dramatic takedowns. Sometimes the cleanest and sharpest revenge is simple. 1. Follow the law. 2. Keep airtight records. 3. Hire people who know what they're doing. 4. Step back and let the other person face the fallout of their own bad choices. Bianca wanted to strip me of everything. In the end, she stripped herself of everything. Not because I outmaneuvered her, but because her entire case was built on deception, greed, and crimes. My crypto wallet wasn't the bomb, it was just the spark. She lit the fuse herself. And as a final bit of poetic justice, remember the graphics card she swiped from my gaming rig? She listed it for sale on Facebook Marketplace, using her actual account. I grabbed the screenshot and sent it to her probation officer. Yes, probation. She landed that for the tax mess, she had to reimburse me $1,200 plus interest. Honestly, worth every single cent I paid to the forensic accountant who unearthed her schemes.